Surely, Tom Chambers, the Suns could not compete with the red-hot Spurs. Fleming with the nasty flush, end of 6 games in 9 days for the Suns. Collin finding his stroke in San Antonio. Suns up by 7 at the half. And we're just getting started. Wemby, a.k.a. the alien, doing extraterrestrial things all night. Victor also playing head games with Oso, whose mood is very foul right there. It's going to get even worse after the Wemby ISO game winner. Spurs win it. Gut punch for the Suns, who had led ever since 3:10 left in the third quarter. And they fall by 1. Welcome to Suns Postgame Time, sponsored by Sweet James with the legend. Whew. I've just been on pins and needles the last hour and a half watching this game.
I mean, it's been a great game. The Suns have done a tremendous job in a lot of different ways. Unfortunately, a few things went wrong there at the end. Rasheer, you hate to say, you know, okay, make a shot, but he didn't make that. And I don't think they would have fouled anybody else in the game. I don't think they would have. The Suns had it, and they had a couple seconds left to try and catch him. So he, unfortunately, was that guy. But, man, Wemby he's freakish, literally. You know? 34
points, 12 rebounds, had 3 steals. And going back to Rasheer, too, that first miss was in and out. I'm like, that was a good miss. And the second one rattles out, too. So, I mean, obviously, there got to be nerves. I mean, but Goody hits the 3. Suns are feeling good. Fox, they had to overcome Fox, who had, what, 13 points in the fourth quarter, and he's always been Mr. Clutch.
Always. You know, and in Rasheer, too. I mean, he was the best plus-minus on the team, plus 12. He was doing a nice job out there. Unfortunately, if they're in a situation where they're going to get fouled, you want to have your best guys, your best shooters on the floor. But I don't know if they wanted to go to him, but they had to, because they were on the, like, at 4 seconds on the, you know, the 5-second time thing when they were trying to throw the ball in bounds. It was close to getting it to him. So, unfortunately, that's the case. There was a couple of bad possessions at the end there you hated to see, but San Antonio is really good. And they made the Suns, you know, pay at certain times. And Wemby, you know, knocking down. I mean, also did a great job of staying in front of him. He really did.
He went to the drawing board with Coach Johnson, too, right before going out on the floor going, okay, where do you want me? Because, I mean, what choice is there? And, again, you've got De'Aaron Fox, but when you've got a guy who can shoot over anybody, and that was really good defense by Oso.
It really was. And you couldn't foul because, you know, they can make 2 free throws and win the basketball game as well. So he stayed in front of him. He did a nice job. I thought Fox was going to be the guy because Fox is always the guy in that situation. But Wemby was terrific, and you can't foul him either. He was 12 of 12 from the free throw line.
This was nearly another one of those amazing Suns wins this season. They were right there. I mean, they had wins over OKC, a couple over the Lakers, on down the line. And the Suns without Royce O'Neal missing his first game of the season. Grayson and Highsmith out along with Brooks. And then Amir Coffey goes out. So the Suns were definitely shorthanded in this one. But what a bounce-back game for Collin Gillespie. Been kind of a long road trip for him, but he knocks down 6 threes, has 24 points and 6 assists as the Suns start a 4-guard lineup.
Yeah, and it was a great lineup. I mean, Goody's, you know, did a nice job out there. He only made a couple of baskets, but, you know, he had 8 boards, and Collin just put pressure on him. I mean, this young man is just such a stud. He gets after it defensively. He was very aggressive offensively. There he finds his running mate, the chemistry partner out there. But you see all of these. The steals the Suns had tonight, what they had, 8 or 9 steals once again, and getting after it.
We were talking about that at halftime, too. Just the rebounding, the defensive rebounding. San Antonio did not have any second chance points in the first half. The Suns were locked in. They were dialed in for this one.
Yeah, Collin was, I mean, he was that guy. And you look at this three-point. Last time we showed this little map here, he didn't make one for the next 5 games. So I guess we're looking to jinx him one more time.
I know. He's going to catch a few at some point this season, but just seeing knocking down threes was certainly good to see as we go back to San Antonio to join up with Ann Myers-Drysdale. We have to ask you about Wemby. What is it like seeing him in person? He had some of those alien-type follows, and then the game winner, Annie. Your impressions of Victor Wembanyama tonight?
Well, he was special, obviously, hitting that last shot, and certainly K-Ray and I thought maybe that there might be a pick-and-roll situation, but it was just one-on-one. And, you know, I thought in the first half they did a pretty good job on him. They kept him off the boards, even though he ended up with a double-double with the 12 rebounds. But I think that, you know, they've doubled him up. But the Suns or the Spurs are so good at switching and putting him in situations where he gets a little guy on him and they find him. And when he's down that deep, it's so difficult to stop. And I thought Oso had a pretty good game. He picked up some fouls. I was a little disappointed on that one foul they called on Oso as far as Wembanyama going right into him in that fourth quarter towards the end. That was a tough call. But certainly I think, you know, when he's out on the floor, he's so difficult. How are you going to get your defensive schemes? And certainly I thought that Phoenix did a really good job early on him. But, you know, it was a physical game. And when you're setting those screens and guys are coming right into you, it takes a lot out of you. And even Gillespie, which, you know, he hit those 5 threes in the first half. He was 1 of 3 in the second half. And, you know, give credit to Fox. Fox played pretty good defense on him. It was really tough for him to get a shot off. And even on that last drive, if he had even put the ball up in the air, even if it was blocked, I think it would have given the Suns an opportunity. But, you know, it was tough at the end where, you know, certainly as TCU said that having Fleming in and missing those 3 throws, he's going to remember those. And he's been pretty good on the road, knocking down free throws. They looked good. Neither one went in, and it gave the Spurs an opportunity.
Well, Andy, have you ever seen anybody like Wemby, though? I mean, 7'4", shoots threes, can go one-on-one, so very athletic, rebounds his own miss and with a follow dunk. I mean, is there anybody you can compare him to? Because, I mean, he's just one of a kind, in my opinion.
Yeah, the only player that I can imagine that was one of a kind at the time was Magic Johnson coming in as a 6'8", 6'9" point guard and doing the things that he did at that point guard position. And Wemby at that position, you know, he can put the ball on the floor. I mean, he's so smooth. Obviously, his defense is incredible. He intimidates so many different shots and changes them, leads the league in block shots, and will lead the league as he did the last 2 years. We'll do it again this year. But, yeah, I mean, his body, he's so proportioned so well, and to be able to do things he does as like a 6'1" guard.
All right, Annie, end of the road trip for the Suns. Get back here to Phoenix safely. Thank you for all the work the last almost 2 weeks. It's been a while, so I appreciate it. TCU talked about to Wemby and how special he is, and at one point, too, you're like, and a guy that size to go 12 of 12 from the free throw line. And we talked with Sean Elliott pregame and asked about the physicality, because it's going to change come playoff time. I think Wemby showed tonight he's ready for that physical kind of play.
Well, if you try and be physical with him, and I thought that Oso is about as physical as you can get with him. He knows how to draw fouls. He knows how to get to the free throw line, so you're not going to be able to abuse him. Maybe a little bit more physical in the playoffs, but I mean, he's like a 7'4" small forward. You know, I mean, he's like a Kevin Durant body, but he's 7'4" in what he does out there. And I've never seen like it. I mean, I really haven't. You know, Ralph Sampson back in the day, you know, was 7 whatever, 2, 3. But Wemby, with his shot blocking ability, with his instincts for the game, they're going to be a tough out. That's a really good team.
Confidence with that 3-point shot.
Oh yeah.
And still in really good shape because he was able to bang the drum at the end of the game too. So. Would have preferred not to see that, but let's talk about some of the young guns for the Suns. I mean, I'm going to start with Oso, so special again in this one for the Suns, but their future, the Suns' future on display in this game. 4 of their draft picks over the last 2 years. You also have Kobe Brea, who can shoot the heck out of the ball, so we may see him. But to see the future in a big game like this, and again, it's a learning experience for Rasheer with those free throw attempts at the end of the game. What were your impressions?
Well, I like him. I mean, we talk about Oso. I mean, this guy had 7 assists and 7 rebounds to go along with his 15 points. Did a nice job on Wembanyama. But these young guys are really good. Rasheer is just, his future is so bright. Man, it's so bright. I mean, these young guys can play the game of basketball. They're only going to get better. I mean, and it's just, yeah, Oso going to the basket right there. It's a beautiful thing. And man getting that out of there and also going up and getting himself in an open spot where he can get the dunk. I love the future of this team. I just want the now to be right there and have everybody out there on the floor, because, I mean, when everybody's out there on the floor, you're not going to see as much out of the young guys because they're not going to get as much time when Dylan gets back and when Grayson is there. So it'll be a little bit different. But this time right now is so valuable, Tom, in them going forward in their progress and learning how to play in an actual NBA game.
A year ago, we weren't talking about the future kind of like we are right now. It's so exciting to watch these guys develop. Go back to Oso. He now is the only Suns player to play all 70 games this season. Mr. Ironman after Royce O'Neal unable to go. We've got a lot more coming your way on Suns post-game time. We got the chemistry test with Oso and Colin Gillespie. That's coming ahead. Also, we've got Coach Ott, the top 5, and full highlights from San Antonio. If you can bear it, I might even have to show this again.
What do you do? He's 7'4". Oh, my goodness. That was a great defense by Oso.